It happened again. Another historic UFO hearing, and I can't believe what they just told us. Immaculate constellation, UFO factories in our oceans, high definition videos of the non-human technology, confirmation that we have captured and are replicating them, and intentional government disinformation programs that covers it all up.
I'm back, boy, FITTI to the E. And today we're going to be taking a look at these creepy TikTok videos. If you guys like the chain, check the link down in the description. Let's try to get to 2,000 likes this video. It says that 75% of you guys are not subscribed, so make sure to subscribe. This video is also another crazy one, so make sure you watch till the end.
You should always keep your phone charged. A girl named Marissa came home from school at around 3 p.m. She walked in the door and told her mom that some random number kept calling her all day. Her mom told her the person may have the wrong number and just to ignore it. Marissa said okay and begins to do her homework. A couple hours later, she receives a phone call from the same number. Marissa answers it this time and says, "Hello?" The man then says, "We finally found you. Don't worry, bunny." Marissa begins to panic and tells her mom what just happened. Her mom's face goes blank and says, "What did the man just call you?" Marissa says, "He called me bunny." Her mom yells and says, "Grab your stuff, we need to leave." Marissa, confused, packs her things and gets into the red car. Her mom begins driving fast and turns on the radio. The radio says, "The baby named Marissa who was kidnapped in the hospital 10 years ago has been found and police are searching for a red car." Marissa looks at the woman and says, "Who are you?" The woman looks back and says, "You can call me mommy."
That would have to be one of the world's trippiest experiences of all time. Like, imagine someone you think that's your mom and then she tells you, like, listen, you gotta go. First of all, why would they call the girl and tell, like, listen, we're coming to pick you up? Like, she doesn't even know what's going on. She got kidnapped.
Creepy last words people said right before dying. Anna said that her grandfather died from lung cancer. He was fine, but then once he was diagnosed, he deteriorated very quickly. Within a month from his diagnosis, he had passed away. She said that her father took care of him in his room around the clock until the day that he died. During this time period, he would get very focused on the corners of the room. He would stare at them, and then later he would say things like, "Get them away. I see them in the corners. And I see the dark in the corners." Anna said that her and her family would ask what, where, but the only thing he would say was the corner. Anna said that her mother witnessed this and got very frightened. Anna's mother said that what he was seeing was not a good sign and that it could mean that he has many sins. Her mother grew up in a small village where there were many sayings like that. She said that some people usually see their dead relatives when they're dying, but others see some not so good things. Anna thinks that her mother was implying that he was seeing demons.
This is the scary truth behind celebrities. If you ever seen a celebrity do this hand symbol and then place it over their eyes in photos, it's actually not a fun symbol. It actually symbolizes the number 666. And these aren't the only symbols that celebrities express to the public. And it's leading many people to believe that they are doing symbols like this to symbolize their alliance to the Illuminati. This is extremely crazy. But let's be honest, these symbols that they are doing don't look normal at all. And it really makes you think why they are doing them.
The rarest things in the world, part 11. The pinstripes on every Rolls Royce since 2003 have been painted by one man named Mark Court. It's the last manufacturing step and can't afford even the slightest mistake, since the paint instantly bonds with the car's body and can't be erased. A Russian girl named Amina is admired for her unusual beauty. She's diagnosed with two rare genetic conditions, albinism, which makes her skin and hair extremely white, and heterochromia, in which her eyes are different colors. Costing around $300 per pound, A5 olive Wagyu beef is the rarest steak in the world. Due to the cow's specialized diet of caramelized olive pulp, the steak gives off hints of olive oil and is very buttery in texture. In 1989 Wisconsin, 7 generations of a family were alive at the same time. The ages of the mothers/daughters were 109, 89, 70, 52, 33, 15, and 1 month. This unbelievable occurrence remains undisputed and stands as a world record to this day.
Look, I get it. I got a platform. I got to watch what I say, even as a joke, whatever. The thing is, I've had an actual hot take that I've been holding on to for way too long. But like, an actual hot take. I'm going to need y'all to hear me out. Just give me a chance. Now, exotic pets are wrong. That's a fat thumbs down. I feel like cheetahs are begging to be tamed. Now listen, I'm not talking house pets. You wouldn't feed them right, there isn't a backyard big enough, they'd be miserable, fat no-no. But the way we weaponize falcons, we could get a lot of mileage out of a feline Ferrari. Cheetahs are probably the most people-safe predators on the planet. I don't know if a cheetah's ever life retired a person, but I know they must have deserved it. And I know you've seen that video of that forest guard culling a family of cheetahs every night. Also think about this, cheetahs aren't even big cats. Big cats are like lions, tigers, leopards, jaguars. Cheetahs are basically overgrown house cats that got thrown into the savannah. It's like taking the best 5th grade basketball player in the world and putting him in the NBA. It's a wild mismatch. They get bullied so bad they literally need emotional support dogs in captivity just to have the confidence to be themselves. So yeah, I think if we had the tools, a cheetah-human duo would go crazy. And F it, another hot take. If cheetahs ever get to that point, I think they're fine right now, but if they ever get close to extinction like they were back in the day, we really could just airdrop them to Australia. And I know most things in Australia eventually become a problem, and every time we try to play God we get burned, but it'd really be them and dingoes, and cheetahs would probably nerf the rabbit problem and keep kangaroos humble. But yeah, if there's a wild animal humanity wants to collab with next, please let it be cheetahs.
I don't know if you guys ever been around a cheetah, but they're fairly friendly sometimes. The one dude that was cuddling them though, I don't know, that's a stretch to me. Like, I don't know why I would be sleeping with a family of cheetahs, but you know, to each their own.
Crazy facts you won't believe. Humans share 50% of their DNA with bananas. There's a planet made of diamonds in our galaxy. There's more stars in the universe than grains of sand on every place in Earth. Bananas are berries, but strawberries aren't.
A few months ago, we talked about this terror that's at Disneyland, where you go in a boat and through Monstro's mouth and you can see the top of its mouth with all of its veins in its mouth, and it's terrifying. But have you ever seen the animatronic one that's at Disneyland Paris? Because there's a ride called Pinocchio's Daring Journey in Disneyland Paris, and this gigantic animatronic whale, Monstro, pops out at you. I would crap myself. This picture is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my entire life, where the lights are on and you can see what it looks like before it pops out. Am I the only one extremely creeped out by this picture in particular? Here's another picture of the lights kind of on, where it's in this enclave. Ugh. Why is it giving Little Shop of Horrors? But this is where it looks like in the complete darkness. Whew. So yeah, watch this. Would you ever go on this ride? Have you ever gone on this ride? Are you scared of whales as well? Watch this. Let me know how you're feeling.
I never did that ride, but I would definitely try it. I feel like it would really be a nice experience, if I'm being honest. If you ever tried that ride in Disney, let me know your experience down in the comments.
A 24-year-old mukbanger just died after her stomach ripped open on live stream. This was also a 10-hour live stream. It was very lengthy, and she was consuming a lot of things: cake, chicken, everything, you name it. She was a Chinese woman by the name of Pan Xiaoting. She died last week from a stomach rupture on the live stream after consuming over 15 pounds of food. The autopsy report suggested that her stomach literally ripped open because there was a lot of undigested food in there and the stomach was distended. This is not the first incident either. She was hospitalized a few months ago for her stomach bleeding for the same thing, eating a lot of food on a live stream. And it's sad too, because even her parents are begging her to stop. But a lot of mukbang culture has become a little toxic. The more outrageous it gets, the more viewers, these people get, and the more money they make. It kind of incentivizes them to destroy their bodies in this way. I really feel for this young girl and her family. It's just so sad. Hopefully other mukbangers see this and they take this as like a warning. Just be more careful. Your stomach can literally rupture. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, these videos are for informational purposes only.
Dude, I wonder what that felt like. Like, you know what I'm saying? You're eating a lot. Does it feel like your stomach's just expanding and then you just like how does it feel when your stomach rupture?
Hello? It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Oh my god! What the is that?
Imagine going to the gym and never leaving, y'all. This is absolutely heartbreaking. So a man named Brian Sink, I believe that's his name, that from what I've looked into, lost his life inside of one of the tanning beds in a Planet Fitness and stayed there for almost 2 days, y'all. They weren't able to even locate this man or even know this man was missing. Now, according to what I looked into, he went to the gym around the time, I guess, they were closed, and had used the tanning room And at the time that they had closed up, for whatever reason, they had not realized he was still in there and occupying that area, and no one might have checked. I don't know. All I know that there was reports in Indiana at a Planet Fitness, it's the exact location right here, that a man was found deceased inside of a tanning bed, like one of those long, you know, rectangular like tanning beds, and they are still trying to figure out how he managed to get stuck in there. Y'all, be careful with everything going on in this world. Someone just got stuck in a Tesla. Please be safe and careful when you go places.
That's scary. Getting stuck in a tanning bed? Getting stuck in a Tesla is also kind of scary, but like a tanning bed? You know how like narrow those are? That's like claustrophobia to the max.
So the case of the female Hannibal Lecter is hands down the most shocking I've ever encountered, and I've seen a lot. The worst is what happened to her final romantic partner. Now, she had an intention to seek revenge on this man because he had left her, and again, she has this pervasive feeling that she needs to control everything around her, including him, so what she did was a true horror story. And if you do want additional details on this, we have an entire episode on the case. Basically, he didn't show up for work, and a lot of people at his work, they knew that Catherine was a violent problem in his life, so police were sent to his home. And this is what they found. Catherine had knifed through his body upwards of 37 times. She then skinned him and hung the skin up in the foyer. And then she hoisted up the body, removed the head, propped him up in an armchair, like positioned him and posed him. And then police were wondering, you know, where's the head? Where did she take the head? They go into the kitchen. She was boiling it. He had spent hours cooking all these ingredients from his body with the intention that when his daughters came home, they would walk in, see their dad's skin hanging up in the entrance of the home, see his body hoisted up in the chair, and then she would force them to eat their dad.
What did he do to make her that mad, dude? So like, if you react out of emotion, you hurt someone, initially it's gonna be like, okay, all right, I just messed up. What the hell did I just do? But she purposely hurt this dude, skinned him, and boiled him to feed him to her.
I'm telling you, doing night security, it's gotta be one of the scariest jobs. Okay, so this photo right here, this was captured by Michael Hostin on the 3rd floor bathroom of a Dallas shopping mall. The reason he took it was because he's night security and he heard noises coming from this bathroom, but he was nervous to check the actual stalls, so he sends a picture to his coworker. After he sent the picture, he eventually leaves the bathroom, but then gets a text where his coworker says, "Keep your weapon drawn and call for backup." He had no idea what he was talking about until he increased the brightness of this picture. It's not easy to see in the dark, but with the photo enhanced and slightly brightened, you can see somebody peeking over the top of that middle stall. Someone was in there, looking directly at him as he searched the bathroom. But even with a visual, by the time backup eventually came, whoever this was, they were gone, and we were left with this picture.
There's so many flies in there. So, we found this abandoned house. And there's just flies. We wanted to go inside, but now we're like scared to go inside. They're in every single window and they're like alive. But you see that up there? You see all the flies? This. They're like blankets and clothes. Mineral spirits? Very, very scary.
Let's talk about one of the most craziest documented mermaid cases in history. When I tell y'all this whole thing is wild because it's actually documented. Now, this took place in the Kai Islands during 1943 during World War II. And basically, these Japanese soldiers were stationed with a surveillance team in this small remote island in Indonesia, which is known as the Kai Islands. And they reported seeing some strange stuff, y'all. And every time they seen these creatures, it was near the water. And these are Japanese soldiers we're talking about, y'all. And they were saying that they were seeing these mer-like beings around 150 centimeters tall and having like a pinkish skin, as well as like prominent spines on their heads. But they said, unlike the classical mermaids, they didn't have fishtails. And it was also stated that they had like rows of like these sharp catty-like teeth. And the soldiers said that the faces was not cute at all, not like the mermaids we're used to. They had like human-like, ape-like features and spines along the neck and a lipless mouth with tiny little sharp teeth and shoulder-length hair. Basically, like, the Japanese soldiers was like asking the locals and the indigenous people of the Kai Islands, like, what is this? Like, what is going on? Is this normal? And they were very familiar with these creatures. And excuse me if I pronounced it wrong, but they called them Irangi Khan or something like that, which basically means manfish or mermaid. So these Japanese soldiers think they were tripping, but this whole time the people already knew about it and they live amongst them. Like, they're just used to it at this point. And they've been spotting them all over the beaches and the lagoons for years. And it was one night, one of the soldiers was on the beach at night and he thought it was a child, but he was like, that's weird for a child to be, you know, out here by himself on the beach. Until the creature turned around and he could see in the moonlight the facial features. And when the creature basically noticed that the soldier was watching the whole time, he turned around and looked at him and just dived right in the water and did not resurface ever. So these soldiers were just so scared and like basically being harassed by these creatures to the point where they told their sergeant. So the sergeant went and spoke with basically like the chief or the leader of the Kai Islands at the time. And he told him that, you know, this is normal. But if we catch one, you know, over the years, we'll, you know, one will wash up or we'll, you know, make a mistake and catch one in its nets. But it was like, if we catch one, we will, you know, let you know and you can come see it. And they did. So they basically called the sergeant and he went to see this creature and he was in shambles. I'm talking about flabbergasted. Like, he was in complete shock, like, at what he was seeing. Like, this is a whole mermaid creature in front of me. And these people are used to this. Like, they just casually caught this on a good old random Friday. So whenever the sergeant went back to, you know, where their designated area back in Japan or wherever they were, he was basically telling the people, the government and just like the people in the military, everything that was going on, scientists, he was like saying basically, y'all need to go research what's going on over there. This is not normal. But people really laughed at him and pushed it to the side because it didn't help that he didn't have any actual evidence or any pictures of it. So they really like was not stunned him. And it actually kind of like made his reputation because, you know, he's a respected sergeant in the military. The Japanese military at that, and you up here coming up me telling me about these mermaid stories. But this whole case was wild. This is actually a real documented case. You can search it up and everything. Like, these people were real life seeing mermaids. And the people that lived there, the indigenous people that lived there was just used to it. They don't bother us, we don't bother them. Simple. But let me know what y'all think about this crazy mermaid story because this is actually very true and very wild. And don't forget to stay tuned for more of my mermaid tales from across the globe.
After they confirmed that there's alien in our waters, I would not be surprised if that was like a part of the alien species. And it was during World War II, and apparently like all the UFO alien stuff happened around that time. So like, honestly, I wouldn't doubt it. Let me know what you guys think about that. Like, that's so weird to think about that there's aliens in our water. It could be a Project Bluebeam situation where they're trying to fool us, you know.
It happened again. Another historic UFO hearing, and I can't believe what they just told us. Immaculate constellation, UFO factories in our oceans, high definition videos of the non-human technology, confirmation that we have captured and are replicating them, and intentional government disinformation programs that covers it all up. The 214-page testimony is titled, "The United States Department of Defense and the intelligence community are withholding information about anomalous phenomena from Congress." And it's thick with information, a lot of which wasn't even covered in the 2-hour hearing, and I've got the juiciest bits for you right here. So this is the third major hearing dedicated to UAP transparency in recent times, after 2023's infamous revelation that the government may in fact be in possession of non-human biologics. Keeping tradition with this year's disclosure, everyone present made it abundantly obvious that there were certain individuals that did not want this hearing to happen. On the panel this time, we have a retired US Navy admiral, a former Department of Defense official, a former NASA official, all well-established, highly educated individuals, and of course, Michael Schellenberger, the journalist who presented the 200-page testimony that was the foundation of this hearing, who all testified under oath, meaning if they're lying, they're going to jail. They all insisted the government is deep into investigating and reverse engineering potentially alien technology using your money, the taxpayer, without actually telling you what they're using your money for. A lot of which comes from the enormous tax money funded Pentagon budget. And you want to know a little secret? The Pentagon has failed the past 7 consecutive tax audits and has in fact never passed one. Meaning the nation's largest government agency isn't able to prove what it spent its $824 billion budget on, nor can it account for 60% of its $4.1 trillion in assets. Imagine paying someone to do a job. They don't do it, and when you ask them about it, they tell you they lost all your money and have no idea what they spent it on. And above all, you legally can't even really do anything about it. In any other scenario, this is the definition of a scam, but in this case, we call it our government. If any regular person ever failed a tax audit, they'd likely face hefty fines and possible jail time for tax evasion. The Pentagon gets away scot-free, because even if they were to get fined, they would just use more of your money to pay it off. And like, what are you gonna do? Shut down the country's national defense force? These failed audits are significant because part of that budget is their useless all-domain anomaly resolution office, ARROW, the department responsible for revealing to the public findings about UAPs. And so far, all they've ever done is hide shit from us or tell us what we thought was a UFO actually wasn't. Basically, the government's debunking department, whose head director, Dr. John Kozlowski, had his own hearing just a week later to explain himself, where he showed a couple pie charts and debunked a few UAP videos as being just weather balloons. He does admit that many UAP reports are currently unexplainable, but he can't really go into those too much as they're unresolved. The entire department's job is essentially, yes, we have unknown technology in our skies that we can't talk about, so let's instead focus on all the reports we've debunked to keep you calm. Schellenberger's document reveals that there is in fact a top secret UFO retrieval program deep in the Pentagon called Immaculate Constellation, an unacknowledged special access program, USAP, that our government promises doesn't actually exist, who he confirms was revealed to him by a number of former and current government officials who claim that even mentioning the program will put you on a list. Welcome to the club. So we already know there are hundreds of unknown objects flying around in our skies that pretty much defy physics in every way. It's no secret anymore. Dozens of pilots from major airlines around the world have anonymously reported them as well. No visible propulsion system, irregular flight patterns, and crazy stupid fast. Their movement is insane. To put into perspective, the human body can withstand about 9 Gs of force for about 2 seconds before ceasing to live. And F-16 fighter jets about 18 Gs before they experience severe structural damage. The UAPs are consistently performing in excess of 3,000 Gs. This quite literally is not physically possible, yet they're doing it. They're also able to fly through water without any signs of slowing down. This is the reason they stopped calling them UFOs, unidentified flying object, and now refer to them as UAPs, unidentified anomalous phenomena, as we can't even be sure if they're exactly flying or whether they're even objects at all, because they appear to go into and come out of our oceans just as smoothly as they float through our skies, like they don't experience any drag from passing through water, with further rumors speculating that there might even be extraterrestrial bases and UAP manufacturing facilities at the bottom of our oceans, which is not confirmed, just some insane speculation. But to be honest, it would be the best place for aliens to hide a base if they could, as we do know more about space than we do about the deepest parts of our oceans. The Immaculate Constellation program also has high-definition photos and videos of these UAPs coming out of our oceans, which they refuse to disclose to the public, along with other high-quality imagery, measurements, and more intelligence surrounding the UAPs. The fuzzy videos we see are the only thing they allowed to get released, affirming to mostly come in the shape of spheres, orbs, discs, saucers, triangles, boomerangs, arrowheads, and even some organic-shaped. Did they just confirm the jellyfish UFO? One case involves orbs surrounding an F-22 fighter jet, which sounds awfully familiar to a certain flight MH370 incident, which, don't you worry, I'll be covering real soon. Now, you may be asking, why is it that we're unable to capture these HD photos of UFOs ourselves, and most everything we get is always conveniently blurry? The former NASA official on the panel, Mr. Gold, actually brought up an excellent point about this. These UAPs are fast, they're unpredictable, and they're typically very, very far away. Whenever scientists wish to study new phenomena, they usually have to take time to develop instruments specifically designed for observing said phenomena. Just like we have for objects in space, decades of research went into building the telescopes that we use to take the incredible photos of our universe today. The videos of UAPs we have now is like trying to take a photo of a black hole in deep space using an iPhone. It took us about a century from when black holes were first proposed to developing the instruments to take a photo of one, which we did for the first time in 2019. Super expensive and highly advanced technology technology was used to take this. Immaculate Constellation has developed those instruments to observe UAPs in detail, and they don't want to share the pics. Allegedly in possession of a 13-minute long HD full-color video of a white orb UAP coming out of the ocean off the coast of Kuwait before getting joined by another orb and then moving out of the frame. In another video, the crew of a Navy aircraft carrier watched a small orange-red sphere fall from the sky down to their flight deck and then zipping away. Multiple somethings are definitely out there. Yet the Department of Defense has denied the existence of UAPs over and over again, only to acknowledge them after they get revealed to the public, hiding it all under the guise of national security, and that there is definitely nothing more to show beyond what we've already seen. But don't worry, they're definitely telling the truth this time. Also included in the extensive testimony was a very interesting tactic that got all the tinfoil heads smiling ear to ear. Governments are actively engaged in disinformation campaigns to include personal attacks designed to discredit UAP whistleblowers. Bob Lazar has been categorically debunked. Yeah, well, guess what? You got bitch, and we might all owe him a bit of an apology. This is also evident in the Pentagon's Public Affairs Office, who, quote, openly employs a professional psychological operations officer as the singular point of contact for any UAP inquiries to both citizens and the media. Isn't that just a little odd? A literal PSYOP agent is the Pentagon's UFO spokesperson, and we already kinda knew this for decades. Since 1953, the CIA's Robertson panel recommended a strategy of using experts to dismiss and ridicule UAP witnesses and government whistleblowers. And a declassified 1971 Australian government memo about UAPs claims that the CIA urged the debunking of UFO sightings as cover of its efforts to develop craft powered by anti-gravity. The US Air Force openly used Project Blue Book as a means to publicly debunk UFOs by intentionally withholding information about them. Even within NASA, Mr. Gold claims members of the UAP independent study team were mocked and even threatened for just talking about any of this, with current alternative theories produced by Arrow stating that these UAPs may be some natural phenomena that we don't fully understand yet. Oh yeah, right. While the US government is busy conducting secret UAP crash retrieval programs with the intent to identify and reverse engineer alien craft, just as Bob Lazar already told us over 30 years ago. Roswell, the infamous 1947 UFO crash in New Mexico that started it all and was mocked for being absolute nonsense, kind of confirmed at this point. All victims of the government's malicious disinformation efforts that fooled everyone. Now, I'm not saying that, I don't know, your favorite internet debunker is a government agent. They're probably not. But it is possible that the experts or the data used to debunk these theories could have been planted by intentional government disinformation operations like these. But don't worry, I'm sure they drew the line at UFOs. I mean, there's no way they would ever use this admittedly genius tactic of using experts to discredit theories they don't like on anything else, right? The panel of experts suggests the US is in possession of these non-human technologies and are replicating them, as are our foreign adversaries in a decades-long secretive arms race, as well as experimenting on the non-human biological bodies recovered from these crafts too, which puts the US military and the Immaculate Constellation program in direct violation of their constitutional duty to notify Congress and the public, that's us, of their operations. Both Trump and Obama have confirmed the US has info on UAPs they haven't released yet. Trump does claim he wishes to declassify more government documents like these for additional transparency on topics like UAPs and, of course, the JFK files when he comes into office next year. 2025 may or may not be an interesting one for us all.
Honestly, 2024 is crazy, but 2025 I feel like it's gonna be crazier. 5 years from 2020. Wow, man. Came a long way, dude. But what he was saying about Project Bluebeam, how they might try to mislead us, but it's funny because no one really cares. Like, people are like, oh yeah, there's aliens in our oceans, there's aliens this, aliens that, but no one really cares anymore. Like, is that just me, or what? Like, you could probably tell someone like, yo, apparently there's like aliens in our oceans, and like before people were like, what, aliens in our oceans? But nowadays people are like, whatever, like, still gotta go to work tomorrow, still gotta pay the bills, like, okay, you know. Let me know your thoughts about aliens in our oceans down in the comments, because it's getting crazy out here. Wishing us the best of luck in 2025.
Thank you all for watching this here video.